fill the sky. You know the hour is approaching. You're after the sweet by and by. You know the Lord who lives in heaven is waiting for you to fly. And are you ready to fly? And did you drink your time like water, flowing beneath a tree, and the sun that shone upon you? And did it give the branch its leaves, or did you grow bare and rootless, live under a pale blue sky? And are you ready to fly? When you hear the trumpets blowing, the angels fill the sky. You know the hour is approaching. You're after the sweet by and by. You know the love who lives in heaven is waiting for you to fly. And are you ready to fly? I know my feet may stumble, stones are in my way. His hand will reach to guide me. And all I have to say is, Lord, won't you help me? I'm coming now, 'cause you say it's time. And are you ready to fly? When you hear the trumpets blowing, the angels fill the sky. You know the hour is approaching. You're after the sweet by and by. You know the love who lives in heaven is waiting for you to fly. And are you ready to fly? You know the Lord who lives in heaven is waiting for you to fly. And are you ready to fly?
I'm in a forest, near a forest, on the edge of a forest in Ontario, a few minutes north of Madoc, Ontario. And I moved here almost 3 years ago for a variety of reasons. And now I live in a home that I've dubbed the Ark, both as an obvious reference to my first name and the architecture of the place, which I suspect I will reveal a little later in the film. The roof has been built to look a little bit like the hull of a boat, so it'll be upside down, of course, and there are it's a post and beam, so it's all exposed wood, and you can see what would be the braces in the body of the boat, of the ship. And I'm surrounded by animals, and I occupy myself with their care, as well as to that of the wildflowers, and work on my music. My name is Noah Zacharin. Why am I here is an extraordinarily difficult question. I'm not really sure, and of course, the answer to that changes over time. I feel like I'm here to make music and further refine my approach to writing lyrics and composing music for the songs. I'm also here to take my time and do it right, as Ken Whiteley has said in one of his songs. I'm here to explore my love of language, and in the absence of interference, I feel like my own words, my own brain gets to function a little bit more clearly. I characterize my environment as the big lonely, and it's interesting to me to experience aloneness as loneliness. I've spent a lot of time on my own and never feared my own company. Here in the forest, and particularly in the winter season, when the just the sheer pleasure of being able to be outside and sit on the deck, for instance, where I am now, looking out, waiting for the blue jays to come and get some peanuts. So it's a bit more challenging, and it has been rather challenging to me, much to my surprise. What am I doing here? Basically, what I'm doing here is trying to figure out what I'm doing here, and to do more of it, and to do it with more elegance and more depth. Here, where I don't see all that many human beings, my desire and my awareness of the need to communicate, to have art as a communicator rather than as an artifact, has become rather clear to me, and I believe that's a big part of what I'm doing these days.
Well, I wait with words I might have said, pale upon my tongue, before I can reach the bottle. I taste everyone. The other words I might have kept inside. Hate called me deacon at the dawn. Sunshine bright and I can't hide. It's a good thing you done gone, gone. It's a good thing you done gone. Well, I never mind in my life alone. I breathe easy in the dark. You can't come in and then overdrive that old man contented in park. And I should have seen it coming. You quickly made yourself queen to my palm. Your smile, it was a hollow thing, and it's a good thing you done gone down. It's a good thing you done gone. 'Cause we were head and tail, hair and snail, farm and jail, rock and sail. We might both be flesh and bone. One's precious gem, one is circus stone. Pull back bullseye, baby's gone. Well, you know, people, time or two, I told my life, hey, life, let's just pack it in. But I was saved by the vision of my mother's face, or the sound of a guitar string. And often still I shiver, you might be back a little further on. All's well that keeps going, keep going. It's a good thing you done gone, gone. It's a good thing you done gone. It's a good thing you done. It's a good thing you're gone.
Palazzo Vecchio, Notturno. It begins with an epigraph from Psalms. He counts the number of stars. To each he gives a name. Having heard the Creator was done naming stars, the men came to name them in their gatherings, these asterisks. And that's when the trouble began. Come down, Archer, I hold out this apple. Archer, take aim. Come down, Great Bear, come down. Offer a den where I may proper long sleep. Virgin, come down with milk on your breath. I know nothing of language, but my fingerprints tremble like charged copper filaments. The air is wintry, and the garden is mere idea. Not mere, as idea is ferment for some of our finest cogs and gears. Still, the garden is but a notion buried in frozen earth. Above, dark old palace. Beneath, night, earth, cold and dark, old palace.
Well, here I am in the city, the big city, which itself has a function in the role of any life, and even in the role of a creative life. Can be stimulated by seeing old friends, making new friends, watching human behavior, and even here in downtown Toronto, there is a little courtyard in the building where I'm staying, where some of my friends, the trees, reside. Over the past few months, and really, I guess, over the course of my entire life as a maker of things, the whole notion of what it means to be an artist is a concept that I've been processing more of greater intensity more recently, for various reasons, including the feeling that the work needs to be done, and a growing sense of awareness. How time, whatever time is, how time does seem to flow in one direction. Although I imagine there are different schools of thought, and each of them probably should be deemed credible to some degree in some fashion or another. But as humans, as living creatures who are aware of, you know, our disappearing friends and family, I've been thinking about it a lot. When my computer is idle for, I guess it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, the screensaver comes on, and I have on it the famous quote from Neil Gaiman, make good art. And so I've been thinking a lot about what that means. It's kind of inconceivable to me that somebody who is an artist in one medium wouldn't, with enough effort, be able to express themselves in a different medium. My first love and longest lasting love was music. I was dubbed the musical baby for reasons that I do not know, and I'm no longer really able to determine with any certainty. But I accept it, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to make pleasant sounds on musical instruments that I never touched before. And so music was really the first playpen, first sandbox, let's say, first sandbox for me. And becoming a performer and songwriter and singer of other people's songs, it came after that, mostly in response to requests from friends who were tired of hearing me channel John Fahey for hours on end, playing pure instrumental music with sometimes a recognizable tone center and sometimes not. And so I started writing songs, incorporating the art of lyric writing, becoming a songwriter. And then at some point in my late teens, for some reason that I cannot really determine with certainty, I was enchanted by the idea of being a poet. It seemed to me, somewhat naively, I suppose, in retrospect, but charming nonetheless, that poets were impervious. The concept of poets being troubled by anything was not one that I really held as possible. Here he is with his pen and his paper and the ability to tell the truth or tell something other than the truth, and cloak oneself in a beautiful garb of sounds and imagery. Seemed to me at the time, as a 17-year-old, to be a certain method to remain invulnerable, unbeaten. And so for many years as a Montrealer, I focused a great deal on poems, and never stopped playing music, never stopped writing, but I was very, very focused on publishing my words, which I did quite frequently and fairly successfully, but never with enough conviction or courage to put together a collection.
Flowing river don't mean much to me. North from the north, rattling of the leaves. passed by every 17 minutes. Each one got one of my old loves in it and all. Oh, 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 I'm gonna miss that train. Now sweet jelly roll, whiskey in the jar. I roll for the 9, I got steak eyes in my own backyard. But I'm alright with how she got free. My watch keeps good time and my knife keeps me shining company. Train passed by every 17 minutes. Each one got one of my old clothes in it and all. Oh, 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 I'm gonna miss that train. Train over whistle like babies, lover and sweet in the leaving. It is in the coming. No, I miss that. Now stars fall from a quiver in the sky. My pond I'll shiver, splashed by the sound of goodbye. Everything's diamonds, everything is cold. Around the blues band there's a bluegrass banjo roll. Train passed by every 17 minutes. Each one got one of my old loves in it and all. Oh, oh, I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss that train.
And moving to Toronto, I summarily dropped the practice of finishing poems and submitting them for publication, and focused again on my music. And most recently, last year, published my first chapbook, and that brought about a renewed, not so much confidence, but conviction that it was an important thing for me to do. Not confidence in my work. It's quite obvious to me that the years between being an ardent submitter and now have taken their toll on my technical abilities. But I also feel like it's a great opportunity for me to reassess what it is that I want to accomplish when I wrote poems. Much the same way my recent record was preceded by discussions with my producer Danny about what level of production we wanted to include. And unanimously, both of us obviously agreed that there would be nothing superfluous. It's very easy to show off. You have unlimited tracks. You can get unlimited numbers of instruments. unlimited takes, unlimited access to editing, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted complexity cloaked in simplicity, production that would serve the songs and help propel the message without drawing attention to the glitter. And I'm very, very pleased with that. And I apply that philosophy now a lot to the way I play when I play with others, or as a solo player, choosing to play fewer notes rather than more notes, choosing to leave in lots of spaces. I'm working on all kinds of exercises where, say a simple tune, will play as few notes as I possibly can while still giving the listener a clear idea of what it is that I'm saying. I'm often asked, what the difference between poems and lyrics are, and I imagine they may be different for everyone. Both of them, of course, draw from language, and my lyrics are very much involved with the same type of imagery that my poems have always been. But a clever singer such as Dylan can, I think the term is enjambment. Just say it all in one line and then 3 words in the next line. And I'm really attracted to that sort of rugged rhythmic stylings. There can be aspects of poetic rhythms where not every quarter note has to be represented by a syllable. Some syllables, some words can extend a bar and a half, and some bars can hold 8 very rapid syllables. The musical aspect of it is extremely important and very reassuring, and it's an excellent adhesive for lines that wouldn't necessarily stick together when spoken. I have long held that I have rudimentary skills at best in visual arts. I've never really focused on it, so I can't really say for sure if, as an artist, drawing or painting or watercolors wouldn't be something that I could do with a modicum of information and equipment and interest. But concrete poetry has been in some way for me a beautiful interface of verbal skills and graphic skills. I guess one of the first proponents of it was E.E. Cummings, and we all loved his poems and the way they looked like things. In addition to saying something, they showed us something, and Kenneth Rexroth, had some beautiful drawings and poetry interlaced. So I've spent a fair amount of effort in working in concrete poetry because I think it's beautiful and playful. So the whole whimsical aspect of it, and being able to move the paper and shift it diagonally so that words could go across the page. I have one where I'm looking up at the moon, and it's oh, and it ends up in a big O, which is the moon. My job, as is the job of all who make any kind of art, is to explore the simplicity and the complexity and make each of them more accessible and bring them together unify them somehow on this great, magnificent, mad journey that we are all on. Yellow bear, offspring of a grizzly and the oft-mentioned spirit bear, ghost treading over last fall's leaf litter. Not a twig cracks, peripheral. His limited field of vision savors depth. Along a watery trace north, moves over moss thick as symphonic music to the bleached spines of spent salmon. Invisible behind the lightning-split trunk, exhales breath of a dying man. Don't be deceived by a fetter. Nothing dead about this creature, this yellow bear. His pad is onyx, as it always has been, and from which the claw readily springs open. At best, his paw is raised in tentative, short-lived greeting.
Points of Light, record that was initiated in 2020, completed in 2022, released in 2023. It's a collection of, I guess, 10 of my most requested songs, or the songs that after a performance, prospective CD buyers inquire about, asking if such and such a song is available on one of these records, and until Points of Light, most of them were not, because for various reasons. And it was also an experiment in working with a producer, something I'd never done before. I'd worked in close collaboration with a number of people in other records, but never really assigned the task, however vague a term it is, whatever it really means. I'd never given that level of responsibility to anybody. And it was, I worked with my friend Danny Greenspoon, who I knew of when I first lived in Montreal, and lost track of quickly when he moved to Toronto in the mid-'70s, I believe, to work with Sylvia Tyson and with CBC, and we reunited. We saw each other again at the 50th anniversary of the Yellow Door Coffee House, where I suspect mostly everybody who plays acoustic music in Montreal did some of their stage, their early education. And I just felt it would be a good thing to work with him. I'm not really sure why. And it turned out to be quite marvelous and extraordinarily helpful. I am a man who tends to sit on things for a long time, and Danny likes to get stuff done. So my cogitation and his agitation to get the ball moving was a good combination. And I think we made a record that I'm very happy with. I'm very proud of it, and I think that it makes its point clearly and succinctly, and that was a big part of our early discussions in terms of production touches, the ease with which parts can be built on other parts with modern recording technology is sometimes a very seemingly innocuous entry point to adding stuff to music without it really having a vital role in pushing the music forward. And so we had extensive discussions about it, and we're in complete agreement about that. If the notes and if the instrument doesn't advance the primary objective, then we don't need it.
And now the seas we swam and the skies we shared up and gone. What have I got to show for it? What have I got to show for it? What have I got to show for it now? It's a sweet old season of leaving pretty things. Boys and girls go on, our bees buzz about the nectar and the sting. Soon the shivers on, nights grow cold and they grow long. The faded petals fall like 1,000 sentences. What have I got to show for it? What have I got to show for it? What have I got to show for it now? Now an elegant woman wants to put joy back in my day. She wants to paint a little color on the gray face of my little pain. And I hold her in my arms as she leaves before the dawn, without leaving even a trace sent behind. What have I got to show for it? 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 What have I got to show for it?
Here we are. It's autumn, November 1st, and overcast sky, quite breezy. And I'm just thinking about, as the year comes to an end, as the Jewish New Year just started and the solar calendar year is coming to an end, I'm thinking about my progress, such as it is, as a songwriter. Been doing this a long time. My first song was I think I was 12 or 13 years old, and it was entirely derivative of a Cat Stevens song. It was just a plea to the most beautiful girl in high school who I was unable to speak with. It was just a song telling her I can't speak to her, and I really would like to. Following that, I took a break for a couple of years, and then the next two songs were called Schoolboy Blues and then School Day Blues. They were both influenced by John Hammond Jr.'s early acoustic records that I was just enamored of when I first heard them. 4 or 5 decades I've been writing songs. Got some Blue Jays to feed here. Nope. Broadening the musical genres that I feel comfortable with. So incorporating a lot more blues and country to, I guess, my folk origins. Jazz shadings on my first record. The song Clear as the Air is pretty jazzy, starting off in B minor and then modulating in the chorus to a B major. I never thought about what I was doing. I just did it. It just came. That was the music that I heard So it's been a natural process of incorporating all of the influences and all of the music that I hear around me and in my head primarily. My most recent CD of songs, Points of Light, pretty well covered the territory. And now I'm in the process of working on a new record, writing tunes for it, which will be all instrumental. It'll probably have different genres, but more importantly, it will project a sense of humor that music can convey, and it will offer the music without any distractions of literal ideas and words.
Oh, my darling, sometimes it feels so far away. I got the stumble of an infant and the embrace of a man of clay. And you work to find sweet water, a place where you can pray. Oh, my darling, sometimes you feel so far away. But my heart is a red, red bird, soars above the dust and the dirt, sings a song you never heard. My heart is a red, red bird. Nothing we can count on to face the rise and flood. Best we get might be to hold each other, slip together in the mud, or taste the racing waters, feel the cooling of the blood. Nothing we can count on to face the rise and flood. 'Cause my heart is a red, red bird, soars above the dust and the dirt, sings a song you never heard. My heart is a red, red bird. And I'm nothing in the word can put the leaf back on the tree, or color the ghostly outlines of those who hover just out of reach. And teach me how to find that better hour that you see, 'cause nothing in the word can put the leaf back on the tree. If my heart is a red, red bird, soars above the dust and the dirt, sings a song you never heard. My heart is a red, red bird. Let your hearts be red, red bird, soar above the dust and the dirt, sing a song you never heard. Let your heart be a red, red bird.
I love the writing process. And I work in poetry, and I had a very passionate romance with it for many years while I was still living in Montreal, and gave it up for a number of, I think, in retrospect, poor reasons. Shortly after I moved to Toronto, and as I've said to many people now that I've moved out of Toronto and I'm living in the forest, I'm courting the art again, and attempting to demonstrate sufficient devotion to it that it will respond to me, and I'll be able to write well. That I'll be able to apply myself to the editing process, which for me is extremely important. I'm an ardent editor. I've read Jack Kerouac, and I know that he didn't write his books in one stream of consciousness moment. When I write songs, as when I write poems, but songs more so, I will, in the words of Leonard, I'll blacken some pages, and the whole process of refining the words and choosing the ones that work best, and finding a musical setting for them and a guitar arrangement is quite an organic process, and takes a fair amount of time. I've had a number of songs that really emerged as pretty well full-blown. One of the questions I frequently get is, what comes first, lyrics or music? It can really happen either way. I'll play a fragment of music, and then that will suggest the rhythm of one of the lines, or maybe a couple of lines, or the vibe of it. And then I'll usually end up writing a couple of pages of lyrics, sometimes in conjunction with working on the music. And and then the beautiful work begins of fleshing them both out, and finding a nexus where they cooperate and move forward with a unified intention. I was there was a song called "Waiting on Your Love," which I wrote 15 years ago. Extremely important song for me, in that it seemed really to remarkably express some of the feelings and thoughts that I was aware of, but wasn't able to fully express. It's a love song, but it's not really a love song for a human. It's "Waiting on Your Love." At risk of revealing too much, I think it was more about feeling abandoned by God, and there's other loves that are significant, and romantic love is important and is in that song, but the overarching deficiency was feeling like I needed a demonstration of love from God. I wake at the crack and the creak and the least of sounds, hammer my heart shut and hope the dark will take us down. It's not that I'm alone, I'm not alone, only sometimes I think I was made to wear that crown.
'Cause I'm a broken nail in a tale of treachery, a stroke of lightning and a kite caught in a tree. Fine knife edge, madman on the ledge, the lover looking for the lover looking for me. Still waiting, waiting on your love. I'm still waiting, waiting on your love. 'Cause I'm a Calder junkyard sculpture draped in skin, total sum of all the people I have been. And if I forget a night to name the noises she made when she came, I'll remember her in the right light, right wind. Now won't you lead me to your door? See, I've been there so many times before, with a loosened belt and a shining emerald ring, a raven round my neck with a radiant wing. Still waiting, waiting on your love. I'm still waiting, waiting on your love. And those birds that you sent singing, let me in, they tap on the glass, sing, let me tell you where I've been. Past rooms where the nearly buried howl and the newly coupled moan. We're all just looking for a home on the head of a pin. 'Cause it's been so long, so very long. It's been so long, so very, 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 very long. Now I'm a half an ounce of habit from your doorstep. A fool as I paper cut my heart on song. Still waiting, waiting on your love. I'm still waiting, waiting on your love.
There's a blue cloth on the table, a pint or two to hold it down. You know how the wind blows wild in the dim light of this town. There's a pair of hands I held, a pair of eyes in which I drown. Where's the paradise I've been shaking in when love made the siren sound? 10 tons of road beneath my wheels, a million miles of skies above. Can I take me far enough to ever forget our love? I keep a couple of pieces of gravel in the heel of my left shoe. They remind me as I travel of each step I took away from you. There's a carving in an old oak tree, my sweet edge pen I've made. Where are you, my darling? It's cold, so cold in the shade. 10 tons of road beneath my wheels, a million miles of skies above. Can I take me far enough to ever forget our love? Now the tulips, they are open as the daffodil begins to wilt, and the crocus, it's just history. See this house I built. I wanna know everything, I wanna love everyone. And when you come to me and my money's gone, I'll buy you drinks with gold of the sun. 10 tons of road beneath my wheels, a million miles of skies above. Can I take me far enough to ever forget our love?